So today we are going to discuss several topics, and we wanted to touch base with you all like we have been last week, given the whole pandemic of everything that's going on. There's like low internet issues. There we go. Okay. So with all the uncertainty happening with COVID, we're doing our best to give you all an update. Again, I'm Mubarak, and this is...
My name is Joel Caminero.
Both attorneys with Mubarak Law, and today we're going to cover a few different updates with you all today. So one of the first things we want to say is that we understand that this is a huge crisis for everybody, and everybody is suffering different hardships, and we are here to support you all and at least provide you with as many updates as possible as to how it relates to you. So our office specifically, we've been working with the social distance aspect for a few weeks now, where we haven't seen clients in our office. We've been working remotely. Fortunately, we have all the technology in place to continue to allow us to work. Our staff has had the option since Monday of last week to work remotely or not. We have a team of less than 10, so this has been working for our office. Although we are working remotely, our work has not stopped. Last night, we filed a citizenship application. And we also answered a request for evidence. Joel and I handled the detained case last week, and we are just really happy that our client was released from custody yesterday. So this is huge that we are still able to serve you all and our clients despite what's going on. And whatever hurdles we're facing, we have addressed them through our team and our technology.
Are there questions?
Let me see. I'm going to see if there's any questions coming in. And thank you, John. I see John's watching, and Jessica. You guys are welcome to chime in if you have any questions. We'll be happy to address them as much as possible. And also at the end of this video, we are going to share several links that we think this is helpful. So regardless if you're a client or you're going through a car accident or personal injury or immigration case, we hope to provide you all with the links necessary. If you're out of work, there are so many options out there for you. Small business loans for Florida disaster. And we're gonna hopefully cover some of that, although it's not our expertise, just provide you with as many updates as possible. So given that we have been working virtually, there's been a couple shutdowns officially throughout counties throughout Florida. And there's this, a lot of confusion sometimes. So hopefully Joel can give us some clarity on what does this order that went into effect yesterday for Orange County at 11 p.m. means for all of us.
Yeah, so basically they're treating classes of people differently, whether you're essential or non-essential, what that means. Some examples of essential work would be healthcare providers, grocers, gas stations, legal services. Non-essential services would be, like the mall, going to an amusement park, barber perhaps, things of that nature. You can still go do certain things like exercise. Just exercise with caution and use common sense, keep social distance. But that's pretty much it as far as the executive order goes.
Right. So it's similar to the social distancing, but I think the Orange County mayor wanted us to really take it more serious for those who were not. So if there's no need for you to be outside socializing, then please respect the order and stay indoors. But people were asking what's an essential business and what's non-essential. And for example, we are deemed as lawyers an essential work. And there's a great list of those. And I don't think the order is completely final, but it gives great examples as to who may be essential and who's not.
Yeah, there's about 36 listed items, but it's just a general category. We'll give the link for that too, right?
Yeah. So did you already give examples of what's essential and non-essential? So in addition to these businesses that are being closed, we also have been affected by our court system. So Orange County courts have been basically closed except for some minimal urgent matter hearings are still to be held. Jury trials have been canceled. Now, immigration court. So if you're in deportation proceedings or removal proceedings, all non-detained cases have been canceled until April 9th, okay? So the court is still going to hear detained cases, and I guess Joel can probably provide you with some differences of detained and non-detained, or what kind of cases they are hearing at the immigration court.
Yeah, for the most part, if it is what it sounds like. It's if you're non-detained, you're free, you're roaming about. Your case will likely be postponed if it's going up until April 9th. After that, things might get extended again with the executive order from Orlando. The immigration court is going to mirror whatever the county executive decisions are held. So as of right now, if you had a court hearing on or before April 9th, it is canceled in Orlando Immigration Court.
Yeah, so this is automatic. You're not going to get, you don't need to receive notice in the mail for you to know that it's canceled. All cases scheduled during this time period have been canceled. And some clients must be extremely frustrated, and we understand. You've been waiting for years for your final day in court. What's next? When is this going to be rescheduled? To give you an example, one of our clients had a hearing next week for April 4th, I believe, and we've already received her notice for July of this year. Fortunately for her, it's only a couple-month delay, and I hope that's the same for many of our clients, because a lot of times their final hearing is the end of what's been an incredibly long, difficult, expensive, and scary journey, and the last thing they want to do is postpone this. But again, we are all in this pandemic together. There's nothing that we can do besides work together and follow the ordinances and the guidance from our doctors and our elected officials as to how to handle this. So hopefully you are not going to be affected by this too much. We will update you if you are our client about your cancellation, and as soon as we receive a rescheduling, we will let you know as soon as possible. Now, as far as USCIS, so the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services Agency is the agency in charge of handling naturalization applications, green card interviews based on marriage, or other adjustment of status benefit interviews that you pay for. So if you had a citizenship interview scheduled for this week, again, this has been canceled until at least April 7th. Last week, we sent out an email that said April 2nd they would reopen, but this has been now extended an additional 5 days. So if you had a marriage-based interview, again, I'm going to repeat myself, citizenship, biometrics appointment, or a citizenship ceremony, your cases have been canceled until minimum April 7th. We are continuing to monitor this situation, and as the AILA liaison reaching out with the supervisor, we're working with AILA nationwide, trying to mitigate the risk to our clients and also the negative effects of this to our clients. So we really hope that this will pass soon and the clients' cases will not be affected greatly. Again, you're not going to get notified or told, don't come to your interview. The nationwide cancellations from USCIS is sufficient, and we will let you know when the case has been rescheduled. Now, speaking about USCIS and some urgent matters, this ties into some other people who, due to the pandemic, might be here and almost stuck in a lot of ways. And one of those are I'm going to let Joel speak about it, is people here who are on ESTA. So before you get into the problems that they're facing, Joel, can you explain to some people who are watching what exactly is an ESTA, or what are these visas, and what does it mean for them?
Yeah, so basically ESTA is a system that you would use to pretty much just do a quick screening before you come to the U.S. under the visa waiver program. Certain countries are exempt from having a visa, but countries, for example, like Spain, European countries for the most part, generally speaking, they can come here on the visa waiver program. The thing is, some flights are being canceled, and we have been getting phone calls from a few people inquiring what they can do because they can't rebook their flight. They're having a hard time reaching out to their embassies with the airlines as well. And there is a process that we can assist you guys with if you're in that situation where we can extend your stay here for 30 days. And it's done through pretty much the deferred inspection office locally. It depends on which airport you came in from as well. Different airports have different policies, so that's important. But yeah, you definitely don't want to overstay your your admission dates. You want to leave when you're supposed to, unless you have a severe reason. For example, coronavirus pandemic's affecting you or your country of residence.
So for a lot of people, they think, what is that? Doesn't sound so bad. I can't go back home. How does it affect? But ESTA is, like, as Joel mentioned, is a special visa for those allowed to come to the U.S. without a physical visa. It's electronically approved. And they're not allowed to apply for any extension whatsoever or a change of status application. So for them, by not being able to return home, a lot of times, as the law is typically written, there's no way for them to extend their status. So people don't want to jeopardize their futures in a situation that's outside of their control. So what we want to do for them is try to obtain what's called satisfactory departure. And this will allow them to, demonstrate to the US government that they, have done everything in their power, and they've labeled them as a satisfactory departure, so they haven't actually violated their status. And this is super critical for people who do travel in and out on that visa, because they don't want to jeopardize their futures in coming here. So as Joel mentioned, this can be done through deferred inspection. We do have to demonstrate, the human element behind it, the out of your control, the hardship being suffered, and the inability to travel. This is not for anyone who thinks that, oh, well, this might be a good opportunity just to stay a little bit longer. If we're going to pursue this satisfactory departure for you, we're going to have the evidence to back it up. And I posted a YouTube video last week about special circumstances for the F1 student or the international student and the work permit. This has gotten a lot of attention from people, but I wanted to give a little bit more information about it. So extreme hardship, or based on an unforeseen circumstance for international students, there are some requirements in the regulation that you first must meet in order to even apply for this. So one, you must have been in an F1 status for at least 1 year. So if you've arrived 1 or 2 months ago as an F1 and are now a student, this is not going to work for you. Okay, so at least 1 full year as the F1 status. Number 2, you must currently be enrolled in a full-time course load. So if you're on a part-time, or if you've fallen out of status, or you're not taking the proper courses, this isn't going to work for you. Also, your university or educational institution must be willing to support your hardship claim for the work permit. So if you don't have these elements, we're not going to be able to assist you. Now, even if you have all of these requirements, maybe the work permit is not best for you. They are costly. It's at least a $410 filing fee. It can take several months, and you don't know if USCIS is going to grant your request. There are other options available for students like CPT or OPT, so please check with your advisors, see what's in the best interest for you. Again, these are all very difficult times for everybody, and we are trying to navigate these waters and find options available to you, but sometimes an option may not be best for you, or there might be a better one, or there is simply no option at this time besides maintaining your current status. So please continue to monitor these updates. Speak with your universities. I know they're here to help you all. I've reached out to local universities in Orlando and on their guidance on this. So this is, again, changing times. Everybody's kind of rolling with the punches here, and we are trying to give you these updates as they come to us. Now, we've all been watching a lot of the news about Congress's Relief Act and the stimulus, about how it's going to give Americans money, support the businesses, and there's a lot of confusion about it. Now, we are not congressional scholars. The law hasn't been completely passed yet, so we're just going to give you some updates on what it's looking like from today's point of view and how it may affect those individuals. So the first thing is the Senate passed the bill a couple days ago, and it's expected to pass in the House. And this is looking to give at least American citizens and residents financial aid based on income and household size, at least some money in their pockets to get them, afloat during these difficult issues. What we've seen from a lot of leaders in Congress is that they are pushing to try to also include in there foreign nationals who are working and paying taxes to also receive assistance. And of course, that's something that we would be for. If you're here on DACA or TPS, you're working and you're contributing to our economy, and we understand that this difficult time is affecting you. So we're going to keep a close eye on that.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, just make sure you file your taxes, by the way. If you recently got a work permit, for example, last year, and you haven't filed your taxes, that's the way they're going to find if you qualify or not for these relief checks or whatever other cash benefits might come your way. But yeah, you should definitely file your taxes if you haven't filed them since you've been here and you have been working.
So also about a month ago, touching on this issue about public assistance, there was a change in the law on February 24th of 2020, and it was basically those who are seeking adjustment of status or seeking admission in the United States to become U.S. residents, they're going to be must require a public charge form to determine whether or not they will likely become a public charge in the future. So they look at several factors in this situation in determining whether or not somebody is likely to become a public charge. And this can be somebody's age, their health, education, ability to speak English. These can be positive or negative factors. So I know a lot of people are going to be concerned, well, can I receive government assistance? Is this going to affect my admission in the future to become a permanent resident? And this is a very good question, and it's going to be a gray area. And I know USCIS issued some guidance, but it's not really clear to us. Joel, what's your opinion about what they said on the
They're basically
USCIS website?
saying if you're seeking treatment specifically for COVID-19, if you have symptoms and you need to go see a doctor, they're not going to hold that against you, but it's your burden to show that you're not becoming a public charge. And what does that mean, that it's your burden? You're supposed to show and document that, like certain things. For example, if your jurisdiction where you live, your county, your city is under certain types of executive order, that's very helpful. But you should document that, because when you do apply, for example, to adjust your status, they're going to know that you have received these benefits, and you have to explain to them why you decided to take these benefits, and then you have a good reason. Obviously, there's some health issues that are going around right now, but you can't just say, I had these benefits because there was the pandemic. You have to explain why, and you have to document it, and you have to write an affidavit and evidence thing. So it's your burden, but it's also the totality of the circumstances approach, meaning this is just one thing they'll consider. So long as you have a justifiable reason to use these benefits, they should not hold it against you.
So yeah, I mean, it's kind of saying maybe it'll be used against you, maybe not, depends on the circumstances. And me, I'm pretty conservative when I come to these things. Unless you are in dire need and you are sure you qualify for these benefits, and you can document that this is a very short temporary issue, then maybe obtaining the benefits won't be so bad. But I am still going to say that with caution. This is case by case. This is not legal advice. You should speak to an attorney or consult with your own attorney if you already have one giving these benefits, because we don't know what the future is going to hold or what the actual law at the end is going to be. So this is just something to keep in mind before you go signing up for something that you're not sure what the consequences may be in the future. So this is just a video that there's going to be a lot of stuff coming to you in the future. Please check with your attorney and or consult with an attorney if you are a foreign national and you're going to receive any benefits. Because again, USCIS is not saying that you're going to be exempt. They are saying totality of circumstances, meaning they will consider everything. And this can be good or it can be bad. So you want to make sure that you really determine if you need this benefit. 1, are you eligible? 2, is it going to affect you in the future? And 3, are you willing to take that chance? Is it worth it for you in the future as far as that? Now,
and just keep copies of everything. If you've been furloughed, laid off, or fired, if your business shut down, just make sure you have copies of everything to prove when they ask for evidence.
Now, some other really quick changes on USCIS. Premium processing is not available for a lot of cases. So E's, L's, H's, We have a client, we are planning to do premium processing, so now that's no longer available. So if you have an L1 renewal coming up or an E renewal coming up, then this will, affect your case plan if the premium processing is no longer available. Now, we did receive a question from John, and I think it's an important question. It says, do the new public charge rules apply to the petitioner also? I'm gonna say yes and no. And I know that's a very lawyerly answer, but the public charge form does apply to the applicant. However, it asks for question about everybody in the household. Who's received public benefits? Who has done this? So these are some concerns that you want to think about before obtaining it. And again, we don't know what the final legislation is going to look like, so we are not able to give an opinion on the matter today. But in general, public charge form, the 944 for adjustment of status, does ask about benefits received in the household. So if the petitioner is saying that they're going to support this foreign national, but the petitioner is receiving government assistance, this might be contradictory information to show that they can support it. Now, this is a crisis. This is a pandemic. We hope that common sense is applied to these situations.